Git Guud, Part 4, Skills, the Complete Guide. Hello everyone, this is Kevin and I am back this time with the Project Zomboid guide covering all the skills. Yes, we're going to be covering all the skills from fitness to trapping in this video, talking about what each skill does, how to level that skill up, and providing easy grinding exploits if one exists. There's a lot to cover here, and let me tell you, over 30 pages of written guide to cover. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Passive skills are skills you're constantly gaining experience points for as you play. The game does have mechanics for speeding up the process, and there are some other methods for gaining experience in these skills as well. They are the hardest to level, however, as they take much more XP than any other skill, as 90,000 XP is required to progress to level 10 from level 9. Keep in mind, when leveling fitness or strength through exercising, you need to keep a consistent exercise schedule to maximize XP gains. A high level in fitness will do the survivor nothing but great things for their survival. It can also help during long periods of combat. What does fitness do? Well, fitness reduces endurance loss and increases endurance recovery speed, increases attack speed, decreases damage from falls, increases the chance survivor will push an attacking zombie off, increases speed of exercise, reduces chance of tripping when attacked by a lunging zombie. Now we know how important fitness is. How does one level their fitness? There's a chance to gain fitness XP when sprinting, which is default left alt. Fitness exercises through squats, sit-ups, and burpees can raise your fitness level. And melee attacks while not overexerted. Unfortunately, with fitness, there is no way to cheese it without the use of mods. However, if you like the idea of using a treadmill to gain fitness XP, you can always subscribe to the working treadmill mod on the Steam Workshop. Other than that mod, the only way to level the skill up is through the 3 listed leveling methods. Just bear in mind that this is a passive skill and will always be receiving XP throughout your survivor's life. Strength is a very important skill for combat as well as looting and traversing. It is also a skill that is mainly leveled through exercising. However, it is a passive skill as well and will receive XP regularly. What does strength do? Well, it increases carrying weight, increases melee damage, increases push knockback, increases knockdown chance, increases successfulness of climbing tall fences, and it increases the chance of opening locked windows. How does one level strength? Well, they can do this through strength exercises, through push-ups, burpees, using a dumbbell or a barbell. They can also carry more than 50% of their weight capacity. You can hit zombies with melee weapons. As long as it lands, you'll get XP for it. Or you can chop down trees for XP. Just like fitness, there is no cheese strap for leveling strength. However, it is a passive skill, and the player will gain experience gradually as they play the game. The player can also grab workout equipment for other methods of training their strength skill. Agility skills can help in many different areas of gameplay. It can also help the player get through more populated areas undetected. It can also give the player greater combat abilities and help them get out of sticky situations. Sprinting is important for increasing the player's speed while running or jogging with the left shift button or sprinting with the left alt button by default. And it also increases the general movement speed of the character. The only way to level sprinting up is by running or jogging or sprinting. One way I gain experience for this is by jogging everywhere I go when I am traveling around my base. I also jog a couple laps around the block every morning before I do my business, since this is the best way to gain experience points for this particular skill. Nimble is a skill that can help while in combat and traveling around zombies without being heard. What does Nimble do? It increases speed while in combat stance, and it also decreases the sound of your footsteps. The only way to level the Nimble skill is to walk around in combat stance. Remember in episode 1, the combat episode, I said to enable left control key for aiming? Well, that comes in handy for leveling Nimble. Hit left control and walk around in combat stance when you are doing work around your base, as this can help speed up the leveling of Nimble. It also takes a while to level, but by walking around in combat stance, it will help speed it along. However, do be warned, you might read about a cheese strategy where you aim and walk into an object such as a wall or a fence to increase Nimble. However, this method no longer works as the game checks for distance traveled by the player when in combat stance, so now you actually have to walk to gain XP for this. Lightfooted and Sneaking are combined in this section because of their shared cheese strat for leveling. In a general sense, they are similar skills but are opposites of each other, and higher levels help the player remain undetected when near zombies. What does Lightfooted do? Lightfooted skill determines how far the player's footsteps travel. Zombies have great hearing, so increasing the skill will help the player be less noisy when moving near zombies. How does one level Lightfooted? The only way to level Lightfooted is by sneaking near zombies without being detected. What does Sneaking do? Sneaking skill determines how far the player can be from the zombies without being seen. While the zombies have great hearing, they also have great eyesight. Increasing the sneaking skill can make the player less likely to be spotted while in zombies' line of sight. It also determines the loudness of the player's footsteps. How does one level sneaking? The only way to level sneaking is to sneak near zombies without being spotted or detected. There is an effective cheese strat for both light-footed and sneaking. If you find a vehicle with an emergency siren, such as an ambulance or a police car, you can drive into a populated spot near a building with roof access and at least 2 stories tall and turn on the siren to attract a lot of zombies to the area. When the sirens are turned on, the player then runs into the building and up on the roof and waits for the horde to close in on the vehicle. Once there is a good grouping of zombies, the player then sneaks along the side of the roof closest to the siren and sneaks back and forth. This will level both light-footed and sneaking as long as they remain undetected and zombies are in the area. The more zombies in the group, the more XP that will be gained from this method. To protect the siren car from being bumped and broken, the player can use the crate fence method or surrounding the siren car with other cars to prevent zombies from bumping the vehicle. This is a method that was brought to my attention from Twisted Logic Gaming on YouTube. However, I added protection around the emergency vehicle to delay vehicle bumping from the zombies. Combat skills are absolutely necessary for moving about higher populated areas. I have combined all the individual weapons into one category, but also have another section for maintenance since that is a very important skill to have as well. There are many different weapon skills in the game: long blunt, short blunt, axe, etc. What you get XP for depends on the weapon, of course, but they generally are the same skill. What do weapon skills do? They increase attack speed of weapon type. They increase the damage of weapon type, increases critical hit chance of weapon type, increases chance of pushing zombies away when grabbed with that weapon type. How does one level weapon skills? The only way to level a weapon skill is to successfully hit a zombie with a weapon of that particular skill. Remember what I've taught you in episode 1 of this guide series about combat and go nuts killing zombies. As you hit and kill more of the zombies, you will receive XP for that weapons category. So if you are smacking zombies with a crowbar, you will gradually gain XP for the long blunt skill. Having a higher maintenance skill can decrease the amount of headaches you receive from using melee weapons. What does the maintenance skill do? The maintenance skill determines if the weapon you are using will be damaged when you land a hit. A higher level in maintenance will reduce the amount of the condition that is lost when using any weapon in combat. How do you even level it up? Well, to level the maintenance skill, you must engage in combat, and every time you land a hit on a zombie and the weapon you are using does not lose condition, you will gain XP for maintenance. So the best way to level this skill up is to use a durable weapon that doesn't lose condition easily. My personal favorite for leveling this skill up is to use a crowbar, as the weapon rarely loses condition when it is used in combat, making it much easier to level the maintenance skill. Crafting skills are important for many reasons. They can help you build stronger walls, craft more items, fix up cars, and more. These skills are one of 2 categories that can be influenced by skill books. Remember that skill books provide a higher XP gain when practicing each skill, and each skill has 5 books for it. Skill book 1 covers levels 1 to 2. Skill book 2 covers 3 to 4. Skill book 3 covers 5 to 6. Skill book 4 covers 7 to 8. And skill book 5 covers 9 to 10. Before you even start gaining XP for any of these skills, you should read skill book 1. When you hit levels 2, 4, 6, and 8, you should read the skill book associated with the next 2 levels before continuing work on the skills. Carpentry skills are the easiest of these skills to level and the best option for building bases. Let's face it, metal walls are not much stronger than wooden ones, and they take a heck of a lot more items to make. This skill also has many other uses. What does the carpentry skill do? It increases chance of repairing items and restores more durability. It unlocks a larger variety of building options. It increases the health of barricades using wooden planks. It increases the speed of barricading. It reduces the sounds made by barricading. And it increases health of constructed items, wooden walls, crates, and fences, and the like. What will you need to level carpentry? Well, you're going to need hammer, nails, saw, screwdriver, carpentry skill books. How does one level carpentry? You can do this by barricading windows or doors, crafting anything with wooden planks, or dismantling furniture made out of wood, or even shelving and plastic tables for some reason. How can you speed up the leveling of carpentry? Well, you can read the skill books. You can watch Life and Living at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. every day. Broadcasts are still active. Exposure Survival provides carpentry skills in 3 of the 8 shows. Watching the Woodcraft VHS tapes, 7 in total, and Exposure Survival episodes 4, 5, and 8. As long as you keep reading the skill books as you level, and take advantage of the Life and Living broadcast at 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. every day. Also, the videotapes you find in the VHS stores. You should have absolutely no issue leveling Carpentry to level 10 within a month or two. It should be the first skill you max out, as it is the easiest and also the most used. After the broadcast end, you should visit random houses and dismantle the furniture to raise your carpentry skills quickly. It shouldn't take too long, as the furniture like double beds and couches give tons of experience. On top of that, when you hit level 7 carpentry, you can build everything, and building items in the carpentry menu will raise your carpentry skills very quickly. Cooking is a skill I don't really take advantage of, but it does help if you're playing with nutrition on and have to worry about calories and weight. What does the cooking skill do? It increases the chance of detecting poison. It increases how filling and how nutritious a food is. At level 7 cooking, the player can use rotten foods in certain creations, mainly soups and stews. What do you need to level cooking? Well, you're going to need food items, a pan or a pot, and cooking skill books. How does one level cooking? You can level cooking by cooking food in any heat source or creating recipes. How do you level it fast? Well, you can read the skill books when necessary, or you can watch Life and Living at 6 a.m. every day. Broadcasts are active. And you can also level it up by watching the Cook Show VHS tapes, and there are 7 in total for that one. There really is no way to level this up fast other than cooking food and making dishes when you can. It's going to be a slow process, but if you want to level it up, you could always turn your base into an episode of MasterChef and just go bananas making food. Farming is a skill that doesn't really do much for the player. It is also a skill that is rather easily leveled through regular farm maintenance and is a skill that is not worth grinding. The only thing raising your farming skill does is provide more information about crops as they progress through the levels. That's it. What do you need to level farming? You're going to need a hoe, shovel, trowel, hand fork, anything that can dig a furrow without using your hands. I do not recommend using your hands. It causes a lot of damage. You're also going to need a watering can or something that can hold water that can also water crops, because you need to keep up with the watering of it if you want to keep the health up. You're also going to want to use fertilizer for this. I recommend it just because it'll help speed along the process of growing. And also you'll need the farming skill books. There are a couple ways to level up farming quickly, which I don't even know why you would even want to be honest with you. You will need to read the farming skill books as you progress through the levels. You can watch Exposure Survival while broadcasts are active. You can watch Exposure Survival Episode 3 VHS tape. You can also harvest grown crops to gain XP. Remember, when harvesting crops, the more health they have upon harvest, the more XP will be given to the player. Again, this skill is something that I do not focus on and is the reason why I don't think that the farming occupation is worth it at all in any sense of the term. First aid is a wonderful skill to level throughout your gameplay. However, it is one of the most tedious to level and can render your survivor incapable of combat for a time after grinding the skill. It is also one of the hardest to level if you're not focused on it, especially since the primary focus when engaging in combat is to not take any damage while doing so. What does first aid do? It will help fractured or stitched wounds heal faster. It lessens the effect the wound has on combat and movement speed, and also the wound will be less painful. It will also increase the speed of bandaging and stitching a wound, and also makes bandages and similar medical items last much longer. And after level 3, you can start seeing your wound severity. What do you need to level first aid? Well, for general XP gains, you're going to need bandages and adhesive bandages. For grinding, you're going to want tweezers, suture needles, suture needle holder, and then you're definitely going to want the first aid skill books, all 5 of them, so you can read them as you level up. How can you boost first aid leveling? First of all, you can read the first aid skill books to get a boost in your XP gains. You can also watch the combat wound management and RMFA VHS tapes. The best way to increase the first aid skill is to perform medical actions on yourself or another survivor. There is a safe grinding method for doing this. What you need is a crowbar and the ability to create a wooden window frame. In your base, build a window frame next to your medical supplies. Then take a window from any house by selecting the pick up items option on the left side of your screen and taking a window from a house. It has to be a non-broken window, as broken ones are removable. Remember, you need a crowbar to pick up a window. You then need to place this window in the frame you made inside your base. Once in, just break the window, get naked, and begin jumping through the window repeatedly and bandaging your wounds. Be careful, however, as this can kill your survivor if you disregard blood loss. On occasion, you may receive a deep wound from doing this and a large glass shard stuck in you, so you'll definitely need a suture needle holder, and tweezers to not die from this method. Prior to making this guide, I never found a reason to raise my electrical skill past level 3. However, after learning what electrical can do, it may be a skill worth leveling after all. So what does the electrical skill do? It can be used to hotwire vehicles at level 2 mechanical and level 1 electrical. At a level 5 electrical, the player can make lights battery powered. As you level, it'll increase the effectiveness of repairs on generators. You can also learn crafting recipes for devices such as smokescreen or noisemaker. You also can reduce the chance of car alarms triggering when hotwiring vehicles the higher level you are. So what do you need to level electrical? Well, you're going to need a screwdriver, of course, and you're going to need the 5 skill books for electrical. How can you boost electrical XP? Well, you can do this by repairing generators, crafting electrical devices in the electrical tab of the crafting menu. You can also dismantle any electronics. You can watch the TV repair and Muldra AV Club VHS tapes. And to boost this along, you can read the electrical skill books. A higher level in electrical may prove useful in more populated areas such as Louisville, as hotwiring a vehicle will reduce the risk of setting off the car's alarm. As you can imagine, setting an alarmed car off in the city can easily bring upon your death to the infected citizens of Knox, and in the case it does happen, a smokescreen could save your life. The best way to raise electrical skill is through dismantling electronics such as televisions, radios, computers, digital watches found on corpses, and many more. Obviously, the breadwinners here are the televisions and computers, as bigger the device, the more XP gained. A great place to grind electrical is in the electronics stores, of which there is at least one in both the Crossroads Mall and Grand Ohio Mall. Check the description for the link to the PZ map project page and explains where all the stores you need are. Make sure you are leveling the skill as you're reading all the skill books for electrical as you progress the skill. And don't forget about schools. They do have a lot of electronics there, such as video games, portable CD players, and some other things that you can dismantle for some easy electrical skill. But the most you're going to be wanting to do is with TVs, because those will give you the most amount of XP you can get. Metalworking is a great skill if you're looking for better shelves. However, I still prefer wooden walls over metal ones. You might ask why, and if you did, my answer is simple. Metal walls are not much more durable than wooden ones, and they cost a lot more. However, you may find yourself needing a higher metalworking skill when repairing vehicles. What does metalworking do? Well, you can build with metal, provided that you've at least read one of the metalworking magazines and have a welding mask, welding rods, and a propane torch. It also reduces the sound produced by welding. It increases the health of metal barricades, and you can repair more parts of vehicles. What do you need to level metalworking? Well, you're going to need a welding mask, propane torch, welding rods, metalworking skill books, and metalworking skill magazines. There are 4 in total. How can you boost metalworking levels? Well, you can watch the NOF vid and number 9 VHS tapes. You can dismantle metal objects. You can build with metal objects, and you can read the metalworking skill books to boost the XP gains. There are 2 methods of raising metalworking skill: building with metal or dismantling metal objects. The method I find best for increasing my metalworking level is to dismantle wrecked cars on the road. The highway connecting Muldrow to West Point is the best place for this, as it is an absolute car graveyard. You can dismantle each one of them, and dismantling the wrecked vehicles along this route is helpful for travel, and it can also provide plenty of metal resources. There is also a cluster of wrecked vehicles on the bridge east of West Point that can provide a lot of cars for dismantling. You want that cool whip you found at the Spiffos in Louisville to remain in great condition? Well, to keep up with the never-ending list of car repairs, you're gonna need to raise your mechanical level. Remember, the cars in Project Zomboid are equivalent to a stupid Kia and will need to be maintained throughout your gameplay unless you decide to vehicle swap. So what does the mechanical skill do? Well, it allows you to hotwire vehicles if you have 2 mechanical skills and 1 electrical skills. You also can repair and install vehicle parts more if you are higher level. What do you need to level mechanical? Well, you're going to need a screwdriver, you're going to need a wrench, you're going to need a jack, you're going to need a lug wrench, all 5 mechanical skill books, and 3 skill magazines. That is Lane's Auto Manual, Standard, Commercial, and Performance. To boost your levels, you can watch the Car Zone VHS tapes. There's 3 in total. You can watch OSCC 92 VHS tape or the Stock Cars VHS tape. You can also read the skill books as you level up to get that boost in XP, so you can get more per repair. The best way to level mechanical is to work on cars. When you have no levels in mechanical, you can uninstall and reinstall car batteries, headlights, tail lights, and car radios to boost these levels. Of course, after you read the skill books to boost the leveling process. Remember that you can only do the same car once every 24 hours, so it is a good idea if you work on multiple cars a day. One method I prefer to grind the skill out is to move a bunch of cars to my base and work on them every day. Doing so will gradually boost your mechanical level and make the process a lot easier. Tailoring can be a lifesaver when you're in heavily populated areas or if a zombie sneaks up on you. It can make a difference between a bite or no damage at all. It can also keep that cool leather jacket you found in your closet in good shape even after it has received some form of damage. Tailoring is a skill that allows you to repair or add extra padding to clothing. With enough padding to all your layers, your character can be a literal tank. However, that does come with the consequences, as the more padding you have on, the higher your body's temperature is. What does tailoring do? Well, it increases the stats of repaired clothing, and you can fix damage dealt to clothing. Higher levels can fully repair as if it was never damaged to begin with. What will you need to level up tailoring? Well, you're going to need needle, you're going to need a thread, you're going to need ripped sheets, leather strips, or denim strips, and you're going to need all 5 tailoring skill books. And how can you boost tailoring level? Well, you can watch Granny Nanny and Tailoring 101 VHS tapes. You can read the tailoring skill books to boost your levels, and you can patch or repair clothing to gain XP. The fastest method of leveling up tailoring is by adding padding to a shirt or some form of clothing and removing the patch. Rinse and repeat. You should be able to obtain a lot of thread and sheets by killing zombies and ripping their clothing. If you want to save your mouse buttons, you can download a mod called Common Sense, which is a mod I swear by as the best mod for Project Zomboid. And it will give you the option to patch all and remove all patches in the tailoring menu, so you don't have to click on each individual piece to patch or remove. It made the leveling process a lot less grindy and just a small task to be done. The firearm skills are the easiest skills to level in Project Zomboid. They're also absolutely crucial to successfully using guns in the game, as without them, you will be a walking piece of meat with a potato gun. The 2 skills are aiming and reloading, and both have pretty easy grinding methods that can be done safely. I've even covered one of them in episode 1 of this guide, the combat guide. Ever grab a gun and try to shoot it in the game just to find out your survivor couldn't even hit the zombie point blank? Well, this is most likely due to a low aiming skill. Without any skill in the aiming category, guns will be useless to you. Fear not, however, as there is an easy way to bring the skill up fast. So what does the aiming skill do? It increases accuracy. It increases the critical hit chance. It increases the range you can hit a zombie. It increases the cone of vision you can hit zombies in. Decreases the time it takes to fully aim. What will you need to level aiming? You're going to need a shotgun, and you're definitely going to need shotgun shells. The best method to raising your aiming skill is to grab a shotgun, a lot of shells, and head to a town like Rosewood or Riverside. Once there, all you have to do is open fire on the undead, and with the shotgun bullet spread, you should have no issue hitting zombies. Remember, that's how you get XP, is by hitting zombies with bullets, not just shooting at them, which is why a shotgun is highly recommended. The reloading skill can help you out when using guns with large numbers of infected closing in on you. It can greatly reduce the time needed for a reload so you can continue your slaughter. What does reloading do? Well, it decreases the time to remove and insert magazines. It decreases the time to unload and reload bullets. It also decreases the time to unload, reload into guns directly. What will you need to level reloading? Well, you're gonna need a gun, you're gonna need a gun magazine, and you're gonna need bullets. Or you can just get the gun magazine and the bullets. You don't actually need the gun, but I just included that in case if you're using a shotgun to do this. To boost your reloading skills easily and safely, you can just sit in one place like your base and unload reload magazines over and over again. This will gradually raise your reloading skills. However, while you're practicing your aiming skills, you should also be receiving a lot of XP for the reloading skill as well, since you're going to be sitting there shooting and reloading constantly throughout your leveling. Survival skills are a set of skills great for making makeshift tools or gathering food for your base. These are great for survivorman type runs where you live off the land rather than looting buildings. Granted, you will still have to search for certain supplies. Survival skills are another set of skills where the XP can be boosted using skill books. Remember, skill book 1 covers 1 to 2. Skill book 2 covers 3 to 4. 3 covers 5 to 6. 4, 7 to 8. And skill book 5 covers levels 9 to 10. So keep that in mind when you're out scavenging for things and happen upon a library bookstore. Fishing is a great way to catch food, but requires a body of water to do it in. This can be done in any water tile, whether it be a lake, river, or a swimming pool. Yes, you can fish in a swimming pool because the citizens of Knox keep pet fishing them along with gallons of chlorine, the reason why there's a zombie apocalypse in Knox County right now. The fishing skill can also help your survivor out with the weight management, as fish can keep your calories up. What does fishing skill do? Well, it decreases the time to catch a fish, it reduces the chance of breaking a line, it decreases the chance of a fish escaping, it decreases the chance of losing using bait or tackle every time you fish, and it also increases the size of the fish caught. What do you need to level fishing? Well, you're going to need a fishing rod. You're going to need twine or fishing line to either make a new fishing rod or to be able to repair an existing broken fishing rod. You can also use the 5 skill books for fishing to boost levels faster. How do you boost fishing levels faster? Well, you can watch Exposure Survival at 6 p.m. on Life and Living while broadcasts are still active. You can also watch the Exposure Survival episodes 1 and 2, the VHS tapes you can find in VHS stores. You can also read all of the 5 skill books for fishing to be able to boost your levels faster. The best and only method of raising your fishing level is to fish. I usually work on fishing at the same time as farming, since making fertilizer and composters yields a great number of worms, and tilling ground can grant you some worms as well for bait. Then I go to my fishing spot and catch fish. The bigger the fish, the more XP you gain, and reading the skill books when you catch one will increase the XP you gain even more. Trapping is a skill I usually don't use, but it can be very useful for making your character utterly depressed and well fed at the same time. It is also a great skill to use for weight management, as the food you catch are high in calories. What does trapping do? Well, it increases the chance of catching something in a trap, and it also unlocks more traps to use. What will you need to level trapping? Well, you're going to need wood, twine, nails in the later levels. You're also going to need all 5 trapping skill books to boost your XP, and you're going to need all 3 trapping skill magazines. That is the Hunter magazine, volume 1 through 3, which will help you make different types of traps. How can you boost trapping levels? Well, you can watch Exposure Survival at 6 p.m. on Life and Living while broadcasts are still active, and you can watch Exposure Survival episode 6 VHS tape. The best method to leveling trapping is to make a lot of traps and place them down with bait in them. What I do to level my trapping skill is by placing a lot of trap crates and baiting them with carrots, which I grow in a small section of my farm specifically for trapping. And I catch a lot of rabbits using this method. Remember, the traps need to be placed at least 75 tiles out for at least a half hour in game for the trap to work. If you do it 5 tiles away from your base, you won't catch anything until you move at least 75 tiles away. On the other hand, if you walk 75 tiles away and then come back before the minimum time of 30 minutes is met, there won't be anything in your traps. However, any trapped animals that are cooked will still come with an unhappiness effect, so eat the Trix rabbit at your own risk. Foraging has its uses, sure. However, it is also one of the most dreadful skills to level, as it can often leave you wounded or outright dead if you're untaking precautions. When you activate Foraging search mode, you're practically making yourself nearsighted to discover what you are walking on. During this time, it is easy for a zombie to sneak up on you and take a bite out of your life. This doesn't mean it's not worth the risk, as you can find some pretty amazing items while foraging. What does foraging do? Well, it increases the chance of discovering something. It also increases the search radius. It also increases the discovery speed, and you can unlock more discoverable items, such as the picture of Kate that's super rare, and you don't always get it from their house, so you might want to find it through foraging. You can find it. It's a very rare item, but you can still discover it through foraging. But anyway, what will you need to level foraging? You're going to need foraging skill books, all 5. Obviously, it's a very slow process, so definitely read these. It's super important. You're also going to need a weapon, because you don't want to get bit on like the 3 or 4 zombies you're probably going to discover, like walk up on you when you're just chilling there looking for things. So definitely get a weapon out, because you might need to whack a zombie in a short period of time. How do you boost foraging levels? You're going to need to read the foraging skill books, because that's the fastest way to do it. Watch Exposure Survival at 6 p.m. on Life and Living while broadcasts are still active. Watch Exposure Survival episodes 5 and 7, the VHS tapes you can find in VHS stores. Those can boost your levels. There really is no way of leveling foraging fast besides actually foraging. Just go out in some woods and search for stuff. Make sure you interact with the items, such as collecting it or rejecting it, as you will be provided with extra XP outside of discovering the item. Just make sure you won't be bitten in the process, as the search mode blurs your vision outside your search zone and trees can hide zombies. Wow, that was a lot of information. I hope you learned a lot from this video and know what each skill can do when it is at a higher level. Even writing this guide out, I have learned a lot myself. Remember that the key to longevity in Knox County is skills. The higher skills are, the more likely you are to survive. Being a level 1 noob will not do you any favors, so get to the grind. Join us next time here on Git Guud, as I have a fun guide for you all: helicopter events and horde management. As always, if you like this video, drop a like. If you absolutely hated it, which I mean, I would understand, dislike it. If you want to keep up with the series, why not subscribe and maybe, hit that bell? It would be really nice of you. Anyway, I would like to see you all next time. Bye-bye. Woo!